Hey everyone, I'm Jaden,
And I'm Noah.
and we are the Super Gamer Bros, and this is the Super Gamer Bros podcast. We're just a couple of brothers who love playing games and love talking about games, so that's what we do. So today, Noah, we are talking about Death Stranding.
Death Stranding. It was released in 2019, and it was the most divisive game of the year.
Actually,
50-50 really.
I think it was 2018. I think it was late 2018.
Was it?
Yeah, because I played it before Fallen Order, and that was 2018, wasn't it? Like late 2018.
But Death Stranding, when it came out, it was one of the most divisive games of the time due to the nature of the game itself. It was developed by industry legend Hideo Kojima and his studio of developers. And it was important because it was his first release after he had left Konami.
More like escaped.
That's true, but I don't think we're legally supposed to talk about it.
Okay. It's just, I guess we don't know for sure what happened, but it wasn't good.
To be fair, we don't really know how development of any games goes, and it seems to be really unhealthy everywhere. I wonder if he runs things differently at his studio. I would personally hope so.
Dude, it did come out in 2019.
Ah, damn it!
Star Wars came out in 2019. I
I
thought
was
that was
pretty damn
2018.
sure. I was pretty sure because I was like, no,
Because
because it was my game of the
well,
year.
because
No, no, no. I'm sorry, it was not my game of the year.
I thought Last of Us was 2019, but it was 2020. Like Last of Us came out like not even a year ago as of us recording this, which is really weird to think about.
That is weird. It feels like it came out so long ago. It's
Yeah.
been so much time.
It's like honestly, like despite the fact that the podcast did not air the we did not air the Batman Arkham Asylum episode, our first episode, until October. I guess breaking the fourth wall a bit. We recorded that in like April.
Yep, that's true. We wanted to record a few episodes ahead so we could get a head start, which I definitely feel like we've lost.
Oh yeah, no, that lasted not even when the first episode came out. I mean, that was the whole like Last of Us Part 2 was our fourth episode, and originally, we were gonna have our that's because we hadn't even recorded the first five by that point, but that was the plan.
That's true, but if we've learned anything, the plan changes as we go along.
Yeah, procrastination really screws with my plans.
That's fair, and then we also have different ideas and we want to try different things.
Yeah, yeah.
That's like when we started the indie bit.
Yeah, that was Ghost of Tsushima, which honestly I think Ghost of Tsushima was the first episode we recorded after we'd actually started publishing episodes.
It was a fantastic game, not unlike Death Stranding.
That was good. Save it. I like that. Yeah, so we were just talking about Hideo Kojima, and it's so crazy because he is, I mean, such a legend in the industry since the first PlayStation. It's he's been one of the most beloved game developers, I feel like, with Metal Gear, and
he definitely has the biggest name.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the bigger names. But I mean, this was my first Kojima game I had ever played.
Really?
Yeah.
I played Metal Gear Solid 4 and 5.
Yeah, I know. We had a friend, same friend back in middle school that introduced us to like 80% of the games we played, who brought over Metal Gear Solid 4 one day, and you guys were playing it, and I just didn't get it. Like I remember just watching you guys and thinking, this looks weird. He's hiding in a box. That's weird. That doesn't really make sense. It was just like I just didn't get it. The story was incredibly confusing. And yeah, so like I had no interest in it, and it wasn't even like at that time we weren't as big into gaming as we were now. So like him bringing that game over was the first time I'd even heard of Metal Gear, and I never played any of them. And so yeah, Death Stranding.
Yeah,
you can go ahead.
Okay, so you're right. It is a Kojima staple for the story and the game itself to be extremely confusing. He does not like to be straightforward with his games.
Yeah, I mean, like I knew that about like Death Stranding going in. I was like, okay, like that was one of the selling points to me. Really, was like, all right, gonna play my first Kojima game. Like this guy's supposedly, a legend. Let's see what he's got. And I like knew it going into it. Okay, like this guy's known for super long cutscenes and really confusing stories. So let's do it. And I played Death Stranding.
That's pretty much exactly the attitude I had when I went into the game because I was sold on the game when they first showed gameplay of it. I knew it was going to be exactly the type of game I wanted it to be, and that is free roam.
Yeah. I actually did not see really any gameplay at all before I played it. I watched the announcement trailer, the really weird one with the beach and naked Norman Reedus. And then I watched the second trailer, which has, Mads Mikkelsen and Guillermo del Toro in it. And I was just like, I knew nothing about it, but I was like, yeah, it's Kojima, so I'm sure it'll probably be good. I'll play it. And even like I never watched videos, but I knew what gameplay was because I read articles about it. Because I was like, I mean, I need to know at least something about what I'm getting into.
Yeah, I was cautious about it because I had not fallen in love with previous Kojima game, and I had less experience than most. And oh, so when and I wasn't even planning on buying it. You were the one who bought it, and that's why I played it. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, like I think you had even approached me at one point, and you were like, "Hey, did you want to like go half on Death Stranding or something? I'm not sold on it, or just something like that." And I was like, "Oh, I already pre-ordered the collector's edition, not the collector's edition that came with the like physical BB, the one lower than that came with the steelbook case. That was the one that I got." Um,
That's awesome. I love special editions. I don't like the way they've gone in recent years, but that's a topic for another time.
yeah, I
So
could,
that was a long ass intro to Death Stranding.
and about forty
We
percent of
barely
it we
talked
talked about
about it,
Death Stranding.
right?
Cool. Let's get into Death
Um,
Stranding, the setting. So the game is set in an apocalyptic United States where a cataclysmic event known as the Death Stranding caused beached things, which are known as BTs, which are invisible creatures originating from the beach lands, which are these like, I mean, they're, beaches, like these unique beaches for each person. They're typically visited during near death experiences, and they're said to be a link to the afterlife. And these BTs begin roaming
yeah,
the
to me,
earth.
I feel like you're kind of like in your head when you go there.
Yeah, I feel like it's like Limbo, like Harry
It's
Potter
like a
in
dream,
Deathly
right?
Hallows when he talks to Dumbledore, like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So BTs, they cause explosions known as voidouts when they consume the dead by necrosis and produce rain known as timefall, which rapidly ages and deteriorates whatever it hits. These events damage the country's infrastructure, leading its remaining population to confine themselves to remote colonies known as not cities, which form the remaining United Cities of America. These colonies have since relied on the services of a company known as Bridges, whose porters brave the BTs, bandits, and terrorists to deliver supplies to the cities. So, like, they're basically just like a very high stress mailmen.
That's
Bridges,
accurate.
yeah, Bridges also perform various governmental functions on behalf of the UCA. Porters use what are known as bridge babies or BBs, which is a premature child reflecting a state between life and death. Using the BB, they can sense the presence of BTs. BBs are carried in pods, which are meant to simulate their mother's womb, because like the mom died when they were pregnant. The baby isn't really the baby didn't die, the mom died. So like the baby didn't technically die, but it also like can't live. So it's the mother, I think they're called like still mothers in the game, are basically like what links the BB to the afterlife while it is still in the land of the living.
That's some crazy shit.
Yeah. No, it's wild. There also is a condition known as dooms, which allows which is like a it's like a mutation that some people have, and there are different levels of it that allow people to sense, see, or even control BTs potentially. They can also allow people to travel, like teleport, go to other people's beaches, which is normally not a thing. So, like the character you play as, he is I think level 1 or level 2 dooms, which means he can sense them. He can't see them, but he can sense them. Your character is also what is known as a repatriate, who are people who can travel back from the seam, a place between the world of the living and the beach upon death. So basically, you can just return from the dead, but you can still cause void outs if you're killed during contact with the BT. And that's all the background information.
Do you want me to talk about the story then?
Yeah, you can start it.
The story begins as you play as freelance courier Sam Porter Bridges. He is transporting cargo to Central Knot City, and he is interrupted by timefall and takes shelter. At this point, he receives assistance from a woman named Fragile in evading a BT. Sam arrives at his destination, but is told that one of the city's citizens has committed suicide and their corpse is on the verge of necrosis. Due to being both a repatriate and having dooms, Sam is given an emergency assignment to accompany the disposal team to an incinerator to safely dispose of the corpse. However, an encounter with the BTs hinders the disposal team's progress, and the corpse causes a void out that destroys Central Knot City. Sam revives in Capital Knot City and meets Deadman. Deadman is a doctor from Bridges who tasks Sam with delivering morphine for the dying president of the UCA, Sam's adoptive mother, Bridget Strand. Bridget pleads with Sam to rejoin Bridges and help realize her dream of reforming America, and then succumbs to her illness. Sam transports Bridget's body to be incinerated, but refuses to incinerate BB-28, a bridge baby that had been marked for retirement due to its involvement in the Central Knot City void out. With BB-28's assistance, Sam is able to evade a horde of BTs and return to Capital Knot City. He decides to take BB-28 as his own bridge baby, against UCA instructions to treat bridge babies purely as pieces of equipment. He gradually forms an emotional bond with BB-28 and eventually nicknames it Lou. And Lou is your bridge baby that is with you throughout the game.
That is correct. Yeah, and that's all in like the first 2 hours of the game.
Yeah, that being said,
Well, not the
though,
Lou
it
thing,
gets
but
slow.
yeah, no, it's a lot of cutscenes. Like it is a lot of cutscenes
Was
because each mission in the story is known as a delivery, and I think like this, which is like the first 2, maybe 3 hours of the game, is your first 4 deliveries. It's might not even be that. It might even be just like 3. But yeah, I think Sam, left. He was originally a part of Bridges, and he left when he like. Can you remember exactly? I feel like he was in love with someone and they died and ended up causing a void out or something.
yeah, something like that, or it was like his mistake.
Yeah, I
I
don't
can't
know.
remember. I'm gonna look that up
Yeah.
real quick, actually. Okay, so here's what it says. Due to public pressure and guilt, he left Bridges and became a freelance porter, isolating himself from society and cut himself off his first. Yeah, okay. All it says is his former coworkers suspected that his resignation was his only way of taking responsibility. So I think it just like alludes.
Yeah. Upon his return to Capital Knot City, Sam receives
Oh,
a
wait, here it is.
message. Oh, sorry.
He met a psychotherapist named Lucy who tried to help him overcome his aphenphosphobia. The two fell in love, married, and eventually conceived a child, a daughter who they intended to name Louise. After being subjected to the nightmares of Doom's sufferers as the bearer of Sam's child, Lucy committed suicide, which took their unborn daughter with her. Her death caused a void out in the satellite town of UCA 01OC, leaving Sam, a repatriate, as the sole survivor in the area and the primary suspect of the incident.
Yeah.
That's
Okay. So I
crazy.
was right. Yeah. No,
Yeah, you were right.
Yeah.
But I was right because he also got the finger for it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I imagine so. So.
That's heavy shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a whole city died,
Yeah.
and he was the only person.
I mean, technically, he died too. He just came
Yeah, that's
back.
true.
Anyway, so upon his return to Capital Knot City, Sam receives a message from his estranged sister, Amelie Strand. She tells him that over the past 3 years, she led an expedition across what is left of the continental United States, making contact with the remaining cities and survivor settlements, and setting up terminals that would allow them to connect to the chiral net, a system that facilitates instantaneous communication and data transfer across vast distances using the beach as a medium. Upon reaching the last city on the west coast, known as Edge Knot City, Amelie was captured and held hostage by an anti-UCA terrorist group called the Homo Demons to guarantee Edge Knot City's independence. Because not at this point in time, Bridges has a bad reputation. So there are a lot of people who don't want to join Bridges and like join the UCA because of that. The terrorists, like the Homo demons, were taking that to the extreme of they're not going to join no matter what. So Amelie tells Sam that he must follow the path of her expedition and use a device called a Cupid to connect every terminal she left behind into one continent-spanning network, which would reform America. And this journey would end at Edgenot City, so then Sam could rescue Amelie and return her to Bridges so she can take Bridget's place as the president of the UCA. And Sam reluctantly accepts the mission. Yeah, because Sam is Norman Reedus of Walking Dead fame, and I feel like as Sam, he very much he uses that kind of gravelly Daryl Dixon voice. Really, just he's overall just very pessimistic, like very hard to convince because he's like, oh, America's gone, there's nothing, whatever, who cares? Like he really does not want to be a part of it. He sees there's no point.
True, he really only got involved because it was his family. This game really is all about family.
Yeah, it's all about family and connecting people, which I know, like in interviews, Kojima had talked about. That was specifically his thing of like most games nowadays are, about like about people like tearing apart and stuff. He wanted to make a game that was all about bringing people together, and that literally is the whole point of your journey. Yeah. Anyway,
Now I'm out. I'm one of the Kojima stands now. You
yeah,
know, I'm waiting on the edge of my seat for the next game.
yeah, his next horror game.
I thought that was just a rumor.
He's very much like tweeted about like watching a bunch of horror movies to try to make the like perfect
There
horror
was
game or
there was a
something.
rumor that he was making a Silent Hill.
Well, that was what PT was.
I know, but this was new.
Well, I don't think it can be Silent Hill because Konami owns the rights, but I think it's basically Silent Hill without being Silent Hill.
Yeah, that's basically what I think the rumors were like.
Yeah. Anyway, continue the story.
Anywho, following the instructions of Die Hardman, Bridget's personal aide, and the current director of Bridges, Sam begins his journey from the east to the west coasts of North America. Along the way, he delivers valuable cargo to the various knot cities and settlements, helps to research the Death Stranding with the assistance of Bridges' staff, such as Mama, Hartman, and Mama's twin sister, Lockney, and thwarts destructive plots by the Homo demons and their leader, Higgs Monahan. While connected to Lou, he experiences memories depicting Clifford Unger and his hospitalized wife and BB child. Sam is infrequently pulled into Clifford's beach. There he is forced to fight against a BT manifestation of Clifford called the Combat Veteran, who relentlessly seeks his lost BB. This was the biggest part to me. I was like, what the hell is going on here? But then he really tied it together at the end, and it all
Yeah.
comes together so perfectly.
Yeah, well, I think like the whole thing with the game of like I don't remember if it's Dooms or being a repatriate, but
Mm,
I think it's the repatriate thing of like when he first connects to BB, Deadman is like, that's not we've never had like a repatriate group with a BB before. Who knows what could happen? So every time he
oh,
connects to him, he gets these memories of from BB of like his dad, which is very much like you can tell you as the player see them
mm.
and know what they happen. But I think as far as Sam
You think
is
he doesn't know?
no, he throughout the story, like he has these visions, but he doesn't remember them well enough. I don't think he knows that Clifford from the combat veteran is the one from the visions. Like I don't think he has as clear of a picture as the player does when watching those little cutscenes.
That makes sense.
Anyway,
Anyway, upon reaching Edge Knot City and completing the chiral network, Sam fights and defeats Higgs on Amelie's beach. Higgs reveals that Amelie is an extension entity, a godlike being manifested by the universe to trigger mass extinction events, such as the Big Five. However, Amelie is conflicted over how to carry out her cosmological duties and whether it would be more humane to end all life on Earth and have it be the last stranding, rather than perpetuate cycles of growth and inevitable extinction. Pretty heavy, pretty dark, heavy stuff here. At this point, Amelie is revealed as the true leader of the Homo demons, having manipulated the completion of the chiral network to enable the last stranding. It is also revealed that Amelie and Bridget are the same person, due to Bridget's soul becoming separated from her body during early experiments into the beaches. And it was given the alias Amelie as a cover story. So really, Amelie is Bridget, and Bridget is, or Amelie is basically a god whose purpose is to cause a mass extinction life on Earth.
Yeah, like it's basically like actually very scientific of like the big five of I think I'm pretty sure there were in the past five mass extinction events in Earth's history. Like in real life,
Mhm.
the dinosaurs were one. I don't know if they were the first one, but there have been five, I think, in as far as science knows. I think we might actually be like in the middle of the fifth one because I know we are in a mass extinction event. But like the mass extinction event is caused by humans, so it's not like,
Yeah, it's not
this.
like a natural one.
Yeah, but yeah. So Amelie's whole thing of like that cycle of life and then extinction, she just wants to end it with the last stranding, which it's all to Sam to stop her at that point, I guess.
No character in any video game has given me such yo-yo feelings like Amelie. At different points in the time, I'm like, she's cool, I like her, and at other points in the time, I'm like, Jesus Christ, Amelie again.
Yeah, I can understand that. It was very like it's very weird to me as well how like Sam reacts to her because I know like at one point like one of the weirdest scenes in the whole game to me is I think it's after you defeat Higgs and you're talking to her on the beach and it's like, oh, she lied to you this whole time, whatever. And I think at this point he like you don't even know that she is also actually Bridget, so that's not even revealed yet. But he's talking he's talking to her and he's like mad at her because she lied to him and like he just has trust issues and stuff. And then at one point she's like, oh, like you can just like take my hand and we'll run down the beach together, whatever. And then it's like a slow mo scene with some music of like them running down the beach and she's smiling and he's smiling. And I was just like, how did we get here? Did he just instantly forgive her for this entire charade of him having to travel across the entire United States? Is it just over? It was just so random to me.
Yeah, but I mean, that's up to the player, because you either shoot her or you don't, right?
No, this is before that.
Oh, okay.
No, like this is before like the whole mass extinction event. Like this is you beat Higgs and
And it's revealed that she's in control of the Homo demons.
yeah, like I think it's also at this point it's something that they've been talking about previously, of hinting to us. They're like, oh, no one's ever seen Amelie. Weird. Like I think you find out like she only exists on the beach and stuff, but you don't actually like that actual scene with her potentially ending the world is a few hours later.
Interesting.
Because like this
And
is
what
the fake first ending where you're enjoying or like you're running on the beach together, but then you stumble upon Clifford Unger with like Die Hardman on a beach, and like he takes Die Hardman captive.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, like so it's
We'll get there.
yeah. Anyway, with the help of his allies, Sam reaches Amelie and convinces her not to initiate the last stranding. Amelie decides to slow down the inevitable extinction of humankind as much as she is able, but she must separate herself and her beach from the world forever. Sam is then stranded on his own beach, but is eventually rescued by his bridge's allies, returning to the world of the living. In the aftermath, Die Hardman becomes the president of the UCA, and Fragile resolves to rebuild her company. Sam is told by Deadman that Lou is dying, and UCA law demands that dying BBs are incinerated. But Deadman basically because all the people in Bridges wear like these cuffs, these very technologically advanced cuffs that basically is used to like track them, and it's one of those things of like you get a lot of benefits from it, but it's also like you're selling some rights to get that technology. And Deadman like basically turns off Sam's and says like, hey, I guess whatever happens, whatever happens. And so Sam follows his advice. He initially begins incinerating Lou, but then actually just incinerates his cuff, and he removes Lou from its pod in the slim hope of saving its life and allowing it to grow as a normal human child. In doing so, Sam connects with Lou one last time and discovers that the memories he's been viewing are not Lou's, but actually his. He is Clifford Unger's son, who had been transformed by Bridget Strand into one of the first BBs. Clifford eventually took BB and tried to escape, and he was killed. And during his escape attempt, in which Sam, as the BB, was also accidentally killed. He was then resurrected by Amelie on the beach, which is actually what triggered the first Death Stranding. So then he manages to revive Lou, and as I said, he burns his cufflink in the incinerator, thus going off the grid to leave a peaceful life raising Lou.
Holy shit. This story is so good. Like the ending, the twists upon twists upon twists. It blew my mind over and over again. Every time I was like, so that answers that question. That's crazy. But I doubt they're gonna answer this question. And then immediately following that they would. It was so
Yeah,
perfect. I mean,
yeah,
BB
I
being him, like that was my favorite
yeah,
part of the game.
no, that was absolutely like that whole last scene with Unger and that all was awesome. Like really, the whole Amelie and mass extinction event thing. I honestly just I was not that into. Like, that to me was like the A plot and the Clifford Unger thing was the B plot, but I was so much more interested in that with like BB and stuff. And it being revealed as Sam, I just thought was the coolest thing. And it was like, I mean, just that whole event of Clifford trying to escape and being killed and stuff is just so sad. And like at one point, he ends up talking to Sam, adult Sam, through time, which is weird.
It was weird, but I didn't question
It
it.
was, oh
You know,
no,
you
I
gotta stop
was
asking questions early.
Yeah, no, it was so cool. I absolutely loved that second ending. And then it was also one of those things of like it was revealed and then there were so many little things throughout the game that like absolutely tease it that just instantly clicked with me. If playing the game, if you do deliveries delivered to this musician, he gives you a harmonica, which when you're sitting down resting, you can play. And when you play, he plays like that little BB song is like literally like what it's called. And during like the flashbacks with BB, Clifford is whistling that song to BB. And like there are actually words to it. He sings it to him, I think, in this final flashback scene.
He does,
And
but this shit is so meta.
yeah, and it was like the whole time I thought one, oh, it's the same song. That's maybe just like a little Easter egg. And then I thought, oh, well, maybe Sam is remembering that song because of BB, because he's connecting to BB, so he's getting these like memories that aren't his. But then, oh no, it was him. Like that's why he knows that song.
That's true. They always take
Yeah,
it to the next step.
it is. It was just insane.
Right. So fantastic A+ stories aside, there is a game here.
That is true. This is a game.
Do you want to talk about what happens in the game, or do you want me to talk about it?
Uh, yeah, yeah. Sure, I'll talk about it. So pretty much the entire game is based on traversal. Players must move through rocky, mountainous terrain. There's water like rivers, forests, plains, and basically the whole thing is trying to get through these terrains, try to keep your balance. Use like the shoulder buttons to like actually like R2 L2 like grabs your like little backpack to try to maintain your balance. Speed and momentum actually plays a factor as well, which I thought was really cool. Like the faster you move, if you're running, you actually do have to slow down. Like it takes you longer to get to a stop. If you just like immediately stop, he'll like kind of lose balance, stuff like that. And players can also use vehicles such as the reverse trike. It's basically like what it says. It's like a motorcycle with two wheels on the front, one wheel on the back, and then there's just a truck, which is just used for hauling more shit. Speaking of shit, you carry a bunch of shit. Sam is equipped to carry a bunch of stuff. Cargo can be placed on like these little things on his arms and his legs. Also can be carried in a backpack and stacked to just ridiculously high levels. You have different skills that you level up that basically affects the amount of weight you can carry. So basically, you can carry as much stuff as you want as long as you can carry the weight. And even if it's over, you can still carry it, but it gets pretty tricky. It being over encumbered is very much a thing in this game, and it very much slows you down and makes you practically immobile.
Oh, I want to talk about carrying shit.
Here, let me finish this real quick. So, you can also carry things with your hands, which it's once again like R2, L2, L2. You grab stuff with your left hand, R2 your right hand. But doing this means you can't use your hand, and any carry equipment you use uses the same slots. So you basically have to weigh the options of carrying more cargo and having less tools to defend yourself, or vice versa. Same goes with equipment such as armor plating, which you can put on your arms and legs, but then you can't carry stuff there. Battery pack, same thing. You have like these exoskeletons. You have speed and power that make you faster or make you able to carry more things that go on your legs. But once again, wearing those means you can't put anything on your legs.
So, this is certainly not the first game to make traversal a difficult game aspect, and it's not the last, but it does do it very, very well. I love the mechanics when you're carrying things. I love that I never had to stack things. I always did the auto stack.
Oh yeah, the fact that you can auto like organize things in the most
Optimal.
optimal pattern, the fact that they give you that option is just thank you to
Could you
whoever
imagine?
whoever's idea that was.
Could you
Uh,
imagine if you
I
had
mean,
to pick it every single time?
yeah, that it would be a lot. It would absolutely be a lot. Like there were even just like the few times when I just did that because specifically with like the one thing I didn't like about the auto organization, when usually it would put like supplies on my in my backpack, grenades, guns, and stuff, and usually I would want those on my I would want those on like my arms and legs. They're when they're on your arms and legs, they're easier to take damage because if you do fall, if you drop stuff, it takes damage, and thus that affects your rating when you deliver it because you need to keep cargo protected. And
It's
yeah,
also
so
affected by timefall.
yes, things are deteriorated by timefall, which, yeah, so like I would prefer to have equipment there because, they'd just be easier to take damage and stuff. So wouldn't want cargo there. So that's something that I would sometimes have to move around. But, even that it's so much easier having that auto sort.
Anywho, as soon as I got the vehicles, I was in a vehicle as much as possible.
Oh, yeah. The first section of the game you're in, because you're in like the east, central, and west maps. The central map is by far the largest, but that one also is mostly plains, so that one you can do a lot more driving in. The first area is very mountainous, can't really do a lot of driving in that one, especially like the further west you go, the more mountainous it gets. And also, a lot of in the west, in the east, a lot of your main travel paths also have BTs in them, so you can't really use vehicles. But in the central, so another big aspect of this game is crafting. Each location, each like little base, has supplies that the players can take with them to craft things in the open, or they can craft items at the base, such as weapons, vehicles, and equipment, such as the skeletons and the battery packs.
I never crafted that much.
Oh, I crafted a lot.
I
Because like,
usually I feel like crafting systems are kind of tedious.
oh no, this one was very easy. You just pick the thing and it crafts.
I would for like, I mean, sometimes I would, but most of the time I would find what I was looking for just out somewhere.
I like, got my rhythm, take this stuff with specifically equipment, whatever weapons I would take with me and grenades and stuff like that. Yeah, like that stuff I would craft, but and vehicles, obviously I would craft a vehicle whenever I needed to.
That's true. I would do that.
Anyway, yeah, it's just like it's a big aspect of the game. Okay, so then kind of later into gameplay than we normally talk about it, combat. So this game, combat is not the main focus of it. But when combat is used, the game is a third-person shooter where the player can combat BTs, mules, which are basically porters who steal stuff from other porters and then deliver them themselves. Kind of weird. Or demons who basically just try to kill people and cause void outs because that's what they like to do. There are different types of weapons for the different enemies. And basically, the weapons are split into 4 categories. There is lethal anti-BT. They can harm humans and contain ammo made with Sam's blood, which Sam's blood, I believe, once again, the repatriate thing, it can harm BTs, as blood can. So you can kill BTs with those weapons. There is non-lethal anti-BT, which is another type of weapon that contains ammo made with Sam's blood. It can only harm BTs and has little or no effect on humans. Example being the hematic grenade, which is a grenade made with Sam's blood, and that is really what I used for much of my time going through BT sections because it's like a grenade is a one-hit kill on a BT no matter what.
Interesting. When I had to, I would use non-lethal anti-BTs, but most of the time sneaking was just fine.
No, I use grenades a lot. Like I could sneak, but it's like, yeah, it just slows things down.
Well, I mean, at one point you can sneak up and cut their cords.
Yeah, you could do that. Which obviously, when I did that, when I got that, I did that a lot. But like grenades, especially, if I was seemingly surrounded, I would just throw a grenade at like one or two to give myself some room. Then there is lethal anti-personnel. They can harm humans. Can also harm BTs if used alongside something like a hematic grenade that weakens them. Like they're basically just guns, like straight up guns, shotguns, assault rifles that don't have his blood infused. And then there's non-lethal anti-personnel, which is definitely what I used anytime I would have to go through human camps. It's designed to subdue humans, can't kill humans, or harm BTs. Basically, like your first weapon you get in the game is like a bola gun, so you just tie people up with it. Very useful gun. And like usually anytime I would go, I would have this with me, and I would have you can get non-lethal assault rifles and shotguns, which basically they fire rubber bullets, so they just knock people out. You also get just real quick, the strand, which is just a rope. You sneak up behind people and can tie them up. I did not know how to use the strand until the final boss fight with Higgs, because you have to use it against him.
I use the strand a lot, actually.
Like because it's a lasso, I had always assumed you could lasso people from a distance. So I never knew how to use it. And then in the final boss fight with Higgs, you had to. So I learned. Yeah, I think the game to me when mules were first introduced was really annoying anytime I had to go through a mule area until I got the bola gun, because then I could take them down. Because like I said, I did not know how to use the strand, so it was just super annoying. Then getting the non-lethal weapons, the rubber bullets and the bola guns, like instantly that was when the game became much more playable, much better to me.
I completely agree. The toughest part is the beginning, which I can see why people might have issues with that. I use the strand a lot and mostly non-lethal anti-personnel. Um, the strand, I also struggled with it because the mechanics of it are kind of confusing because you have to like aim and then do it. It's weird, but it's basically like the game's counter system, and I'm a bitch for a counter system. That's why Sekiro is my game of 2019 and not Death Stranding.
Yeah, once again, didn't know you could do that until the Higgs fight.
That's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
No, I used it pretty constantly because you can like you just flip them to the side. It's super easy. They stumble for like 15 seconds. It's ridiculous. They're like standing there like just stumbling in place. It's weird. And then you can tie them up.
Yeah, I did know that.
That's basically, but it became a problem when there were groups. That's when I used the non-lethal AP shots. Anywho,
Yeah, so like I think combat wasn't a big thing. I remember like reading some reviews when this game first came out. Of the reviews I read, like people kind of were bashing the combat of it to the point where like I remember even like one I don't remember if it was like Kojima interview or if it was just an article someone had wrote about it, was like, well, it's not meant to be it's not a third person shooter. Like that's not what the game is. That's just and it's not meant to be a game where you just shoot people. It's so like the shooting wasn't the main focus, but I thought it worked out. I thought it worked really well.
I thought the combat was really fun.
Yeah,
Especially when I got the hang of it. Against the BTs was fun. Against the demons and the robbers. What are
mules.
they called? The mules. Thank you. Um, but that's not the main part of the game. It's just one of the aspects. And it's completely up to you. Like you can completely avoid it,
Oh
or
yeah.
you can do it nothing but that. There's enemy camps and you can just charge in and gun down 30 people if you want to, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you can literally, like, you can actually kill people and cause void outs, which I never encountered it in my playthrough, but like void outs can happen, like if you're killed by BTs in the wild, and if you kill people, and that like permanently changes the map. Like you just have a very big crater that you cannot walk through in your map if that happens.
That's crazy because I did a whole non-lethal playthrough.
Yeah, same. Like, I mean, I didn't kill someone because it's like, why? Why would you? What's like, all you're gonna do is
Right, there's
cause a void
actually
out. There's no
extreme
point.
consequences if you do.
Yeah. The only time like I killed people, I guess, was during like the Unger Ward scenes. Those were lethal weapons, but you know, it also doesn't count.
Right, they were BTs and that was a beach.
Yeah. So you also have the portable chiral constructor, the PCC, which allows players to 3D print various objects to help them on their journey. You can make bridges, you can make post boxes, you can make portable generators and stuff. You do initially you just like create like a spot for something to be constructed, and then you actually do have to physically bring the supplies needed for construction to that place. You know, like you actually do need the supplies to be able to craft stuff, which is really cool. Like, you know, so many times I would be building something and I'd have to like I'd take a reverse trike to like a base and take out, you know, 400 concrete or whatever and drive back to leave it at this place to build something.
Yeah, I really like that aspect, but it was kind of tedious for me. I dabbled in it and I was like, I can see how this can be fun, but it's too much for me. And
Mm.
so I basically, never built anything, and it didn't matter because of the next aspect.
Yeah, you know, speaking of like doing that, Noah, why don't you talk about this?
All right, so Death Stranding has online socialization, which is a very unique form of online gaming. Players can leave supplies, structures, and messages that can be viewed and used by other players. Although structures will eventually be destroyed by timefall after some time, the player can also recover cargo lost by other players to complete their delivery. The player does not directly encounter other players in the world. That's true. So you never meet anybody else. You never actually see another player. It's more like you'll see a sign that says hello or their name was here or something, or like keep going or almost there. I really like those. Somebody would put up a sign when I was almost at a delivery and it would
Yeah,
say almost there.
yeah. You could also like leave like signs warning of like, oh, this is a BT area, or oh, hey, here is a place you can take shelter from timefall, stuff like that. Yeah, it was really cool. Like, definitely very much helped my playthrough going with having all these bridges built by other people, or like ladders placed by other people, or uh you know, like portable generators placed by other people when using vehicles and exoskeletons, stuff like that. All really, really cool. Um, it also is cool because you can only craft a certain number of things in the world. Like the PCC stuff, they take up like I can't think of the right word, but basically it's like bandwidth on the chiral network. Like you only have a certain number of bandwidth, and each thing takes up a certain number. And the more you connect, the more places you connect, and the higher you grow your like connection with those places, it increases it. But you are still limited. So this like having their stuff really helps you as well, because it's something that you don't have to craft to take up space with all the things you can craft, because was something that became an issue with me was not having enough space.
I had that issue rarely. Some points I would just dump everything except for what I was carrying for the mission. Maybe one like non-lethal anti-personnel.
Well, I mean like the crafting
Um,
stuff, not like what you're physically
oh,
carrying.
oh,
Like
my
the
bad.
chiral network can only handle like a certain, like I forget it, but it's like a number of like I think like in max in like the west area was like 12,000 or something. And it's like a bridge is 1,000, and like a generator is like 400, and this is 500. So it's like you have each thing takes up a certain number, a certain like space on the network, and you have a limited space. But it's like online things that other players created don't take up space on your network, so they're also useful in that regard.
That's true. I mean, by the time I was halfway through the game, though, there was a completed highway.
I completed my highway.
You
I pretty much,
did? I mean, like
yeah,
when I got there, everything was already complete.
yeah, no, like when I got there, I think like two sections of the road were completed, and then I completed like from Central Knot City to like the base to the south, or no, I think it was Port Knot City, whichever one. Like basically, like the in the central section of the map, I had all of the roads 100% built, and I would say I built probably 80% of it myself.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was just it's useful. Like those roads, like one, they
Oh
charge
yeah, like I
stuff.
would have built it.
Two, BTs can't attack you on them. Super, super useful. You've also got Timefall, as we mentioned earlier. It's like rain that deteriorates cargo, deteriorates clothes, armor you're wearing. I honestly thought there was too much Timefall in the game. I guess also because of how fast it deteriorates things.
It is at a pretty extreme pace. Um,
Like I know, like I
but
remember playing the game. I thought like they either need less Timefall or they need to slow down how much it deteriorates stuff because it's really annoying. It was really annoying,
I feel like I avoided it well enough.
especially like in the mountains when it was like snow and stuff. Like that was worse because it would like it. I don't know why, but it definitely seemed like snow deteriorated stuff faster.
That was the hardest part of the game in the traveling
Oh yes,
aspect
it
of it.
was. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Also, this is something I felt would be interesting to talk about. Ads or product placement in games. It's something that is very much becoming a normal thing, more of a normal thing. So, like in this one specifically, the two that come to my mind is the fact that in literally every room you sleep in, there are like 6 cans of Monster Energy that you can just drink. And when you go to the bathroom, there is a screen that pops up, and then like an ad for Ride with Norman Reedus, which is a show on AMC, pops up.
That is so funny.
Yeah, what is your opinion?
On what?
Just like product placement ads in games?
I don't care. It accomplished what it needed to accomplish, which was just one of the other little activities you can do in that room. And I never spent any time doing that stuff in that room. So, if you asked
Yep.
me what he drank, I probably wouldn't even have known.
hmm Even like you get like a little flask with you or something, and even that like I think it like converts water into Monster Energy drink or something like that.
That's hilarious.
It's really weird. But oh, that's also something that we need to talk about, the fact that you can get tired and like fatigue is actually a thing. I completely forgot about that.
I forgot about that too.
Like you have like a bar of energy, the longer you go without rest, limits on your max stamina goes down and down. And you can do things like you can actually just sit down and rest to get some of it back, or you actually have to like go to a base and sleep.
Yeah, but I almost never ran into any issues with it.
I did a bit, like not a lot, but enough that I would just forget about it, and then I'd be like, oh crap, my stamina's maxed out at like less than half now because I've been doing so much stuff without resting. But no, it's just another thing. I think it's cool. Just another little aspect of making the game unique in comparison to others I've played.
Right.
As well, going back to product placement, no, I just want to say, like, I think I'm okay with product placement because that gets games made, like funded and stuff, and that's important because I want to play games. I just think, there's certainly a line that shouldn't be crossed, which EA, being the awful company there, have obviously crossed that line. Because,
Oh,
like, in
let's not shoot bullets at random companies.
no, no, it's not random, it's EA. Because it's like I remember a huge complaint going up with like NBA 2K20 or 2K21 of like there were like ads in the loading screens and people were whatever. But then like less than 4 months after the game came out, they would have like 30-second unskippable ads that like even after the game is done loading, you would have to finish the ad before it would let you play the game.
That's not a good look.
Yeah, that's
That's
very
like
much
reverse mobile games.
yeah, it's very much not a good look. But then, like in the case of Death Stranding, I honestly found them more humorous than anything.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't.
Yeah. Like the Monster Energy, like
I mean, first of
anytime,
all, interrupting a game.
yeah, it's different. But like first off, like the Monster Energy thing, like literally anytime I would look at those Monster Energy cans, I would just laugh. Like I'd just be like, man, just look at that. It's just right there. I don't know how you did it, Monster Energy, but you're the only drink left now.
Right, that's what
Um,
I want to know.
yeah. And then like,
What is Kojima's explanation for the monster?
yeah. And then like the ride with Norman Reedus, like once again, the bathroom, I used it like twice the entire game. And so I didn't really experience it that way. But then also, there's a collectible in this game, the memory sticks, that you have to find them and then decode them. They unlock lore about the game and the world. Also, like I think it's like maybe like I don't think it's a requirement to find it, but I think it's in such an obvious place that you will definitely find it just going through the story. Like it was the first one I found. You unlock the reverse strike ride type, which is just like a little alternate paint on it, and it has like ride with Norman Reedus advertised on the side of it, whatever. I would use that one a lot because it just looked different and I like that. Also, it's just so funny to me of there'd be so many times like if you're just riding this specific reverse trike on a road at just random times, Sam will be like, "Man, this trike's fucking awesome. It should be on Ride with Norman Reedus."
That's fucking hilarious.
Or like, yeah, or he'd be like, "Man, I love this bike. I wonder if they have bikes like this on Ride with Norman Reedus." And
That's
just
so funny.
just every
I
time it would
never
make me
knew that.
laugh. Yeah, it's like every time because I'm like, it's literally Norman Reedus advertising his own show in this game.
And it would just happen randomly.
Yeah, yeah, it was
That's
just
so funny.
yeah, it's just I'm like man, if there's product placement like this in games, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Random side thing, but Kyle said he's not gonna buy 2K20 and he has bought and spent $2,000 on like the last 10 2K games.
I think it'd be 2K21
Oh,
or
yeah, I think you're
I don't
right.
know.
I can't
Uh,
keep track.
yeah, I think I don't know. I think Kyle is very much like me when it comes to sports games. Of eventually, I just got like, I was like, I just can't do it anymore. Like they're not as good as they were, and what's the point? Like I think Madden 25, which was the Madden game in 2014. It was like the celebrate 25 years of Madden. Was the last Madden game I bought like because I bought them every year. That was the last one that I bought like yearly, and I played it maybe once. So
That's crazy.
yeah, he. I'm glad to hear he finally reached that point because I mean at this point it's like I still own like I own an NBA game. I own Madden. I own NCAA football. Like I own sports games, but it's like I have one. Like I have my favorite one from like each one pretty much. And then I just go back and play that one.
Interesting. Why don't you talk about the trophies?
Yeah. So now we'll move on to notable trophies. I got the platinum in Death Stranding. It was at the time I did it the longest time for like most time spent in a game to get a platinum trophy that I was aware of because it was like the first game that I can really remember getting a platinum in that literally to the millisecond would like anytime you'd save would show how long you've been playing this game. It took me like 106 hours and 34 minutes.
That's pretty long.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about finished with Immortals and it tracks and I've played 60, I think, maybe close to 80.
Yeah. Like I think as of there is one game I know I took longer. Maybe no, I don't think I took as long with that one. And then I did also get all the achievements in Skyrim, which this was before Death Stranding, but it doesn't record I think your time, at least not that I can remember, and I don't know how long it took me. But it doesn't feel like it took me as long as Death Stranding did.
Right.
Anyway, 106 hours to get the platinum in this one. Really notable trophies I have 3. One, I couldn't hold it in. Pee outside for the first time. Literally since like before gameplay was even shown was a thing in this game that people were talking about.
That's true. I remember when people are like, "Oh, that Kojima game is so weird. It's just Norman Reedus peeing."
Yeah, like that was always a big deal. It was like whatever because it's like you pee on the ground and a mushroom grows, and like if a lot of people pee in the same place, like a bunch of mushrooms grow. I don't know, like literally when it was first a thing, I remember like someone, maybe Kojima himself, was like, "Oh, if a lot of people pee in the same place, like wait and see what happens." And it's like I don't know, there were more mushrooms, but from places that I assume a lot of people had peed. But I did it like for the trophy, but then there's not really a purpose to it. Like literally, like I probably played 90% of my game with a 100% full bladder.
Damn. I don't know. I
Um,
think I went to the bathroom.
I mean, I did like sometimes, but it's like there's no penalty for not doing it, so it's just like I wouldn't think about it. Anyway, next is God Particle Go Getter. Find Higgs's home. This one I like, one for the name because it is like Higgs' villain name, like because it's not his real name. He just got it from the Higgs boson, which is known as the God particle. I don't remember why, but I do remember like in high school, I think we were when that particle was discovered, and like a science teacher having us read about it.
Yeah, I think so.
But also, I just love how you find his home is every so often you will unlock from certain places that you deliver from a specific side mission delivery. No, I'm sure you're familiar with delivering pizza.
Did I don't know if I delivered pizza.
Well, it's like I think the guy's name is like no, that's definitely not. I don't remember the guy's name, but it's like literally a message of a guy's like, "Hey, just deliver pizza," and you have to keep the pizza horizontal, like that. It gets damaged if it's vertical because it's a pizza box. So literally, like I would have to place stuff on my backpack so that the pizza box would be horizontal, and then you would deliver it. Like he was like way out isolated, and there are 5 of these missions that you don't unlock them until you get to a certain point in the main story, and every time you're just delivering pizza to this guy, and it doesn't like up your connection with his facility or anything. He never joins the UCA, anything like that. It's just you deliver it to this guy. He never talks to you, which is something that all other people do. And then finally, when you get the last one, he's like, I remember there's even one where like you have to deliver wine with the pizza, and the wine you have to hold in your hand. It was really annoying because as part of getting the platinum, you have to make a lot of deliveries, and partial way through the game, you get the ability to craft a zip line, and I crafted a zip line, and like I literally just had like a huge network of zip lines, so like I basically would be able to just like accept a delivery, get all the stuff, hop on a zip line, and go from zip line to every facility. Like pretty much like in getting all those deliveries I had to do to get the platinum, I would either like I would either drive or I would zip line to every place. Like I would only walk to a place until it joined either Bridges or the UCA because you can't craft stuff until they do in like that area. Yeah, like that was how I got around. But with that specific one, it was from the very southern part of the central area all the way to the very north, and you had this box of wine that you had to carry in your hand. Literally, you have to carry it in your hand. That's what it says. Like it's damaged if you're not carrying it in your hand. So I actually had to just walk the whole way.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And I think that was like the 4th one. But then you do the 5th one, and he's like he sent you like an email like, "Oh, deliver this and I'll finally let you know who I am and stuff." And I delivered it, instantly got like max connection with his place. And then the door is just open, which this is the only time you actually like go into like a door of this place and you actually see what's inside, because you do unlock an ability to like once you get like a high enough connection level with the place that they will let you sleep there, and like the door will open, you'll walk inside, cut to black, and then you walk out. So you don't actually see the inside. This is the only place that you actually see the inside of for like these people who are living on their own. And it's just a room just covered in a bunch of stuff. You find memory sticks that gives you Higgs more of Higgs's backstory. It's an interesting little side thing there.
That is cool, and I never found that.
Yep. Yeah. So then the last one, best beloved. Reach the maximum connection level with all facilities. This is the big daddy. This is the one that like, is going to take you the longest, because reaching max connection level with the facility takes a bunch of deliveries. I also just put this here as notable because I think it's stupid that it's only a silver trophy.
That's really weird.
Yeah, it's not a gold trophy, and that really pisses me off because it's very much like the thing that'll take you the longest amount of time, and that is probably the hardest to do in the game.
Yeah, that's basically what stopped me from going for the platinum.
Yeah, very annoying. Should have been gold. Come on, Kojima, what are you doing? But he also doesn't really care about trophies, so maybe that's why.
No, he said it must be silver.
Yeah, nope. He slammed the hammer down on that one. Okay, so yeah, that's it for trophies. Now let's move on to our questions. Noah, favorite moments.
My favorite moment, one of my favorite moments is the end with Bridget. I know you said you didn't like it that much, but I actually liked it because that's when it was most interesting. Like it was least interesting to me when she was just kidnapped and across the country. When they made it like convoluted and tied it into the story and tied it into the Death Stranding itself and then tied it into back to Sam, I was like, wow, that really paid off. I'm glad I stuck through that.
Yeah, I get you. My favorite the Clifford Unger scenes, really like pretty much any scene he is, from like all the little BB side scenes to the end to also just all the times we're in like the past war zones fighting him and stuff. Really, really cool moments. I really love those.
That's true. We
Yeah,
never
like
discussed how well the acting is.
oh yeah, no, the acting is phenomenal. I felt like we didn't need to necessarily go into that. I assumed. Also, yeah, because to me, like the longest. What are the chapter? Are the chapters called chapters or are they called episodes? I think are they chapters?
I can't remember.
Well, the chapters of the game. Chapter 3 is the longest chapter, like by a decent amount. That's where you get like most of the central location done. It ends with you not delivering a thermonuclear device. That I think is like the big hurdle of the game because after chapter 3, you do chapter 4, which is the first back in time war Unger scene, and then it's after that is when you like are able to craft weapons and stuff. And that to me is when the game really got going and when I really was much like it like I think the pace picked up a lot and the game itself just got I think oh yeah let's go.
I completely agree with you. That's
Yeah.
when the game
Yeah.
transitioned for me too.
Yeah, like I remember after I'd beaten the game, I was at GameStop before our local GameStop closed down, talking to like the guy working there, and he had just started playing it, and he was in I think chapter 3, and I told him I was like, yeah, chapter 3 is the longest one, but if you can get past that, like that's when to me the game really picked up. Anyway, yeah, just moving on from that. Favorite boss battle. I really liked the boss battles against the BT monsters. I thought those were all they all looked really cool and they were fun. Like it was fun dodging around, having to get weapons to shoot them with and stuff.
I actually hated those. I thought they were really stressful. Um, the boss battles I really liked were the fights against Clifford Unger in on his beach.
I really like those as well, but I think like they were cool, but yeah, I just really like the PT fights. I like how literal like spirits of other players will come and throw you equipment when you run out of equipment. Yeah, I just really like the BT fights. And like you said, I mean, they were definitely stressful, but that, to me was the enjoyment of them. What you didn't like about the game. I actually probably of all the games to talk about, this is the one with the most things I didn't like. No, any what about you? You didn't like the BT boss fights?
Well, I mean, no, I did not like them. Because sometimes, like, it was pretty random sometimes how structures would appear and what items would be thrown. So you could either be given like a really good, um, a really good roll or a really bad one. It's all RNG. At least that's how it felt to me.
Yeah.
And there's no warning to them, so you have to like be prepared or not.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, like I said, I think the main story, like I said, with the bridge when it gets to the end and like the last stranding and having to stop her, that just to me it was just like so confusing. It's like overall, like I liked it, I would say, but I didn't like it as much as the Clifford Unger parts. And that's like to me, it's like it's weird having like the B story be, in my opinion, better than the main story. I also didn't like Higgs. It's cool, he's Troy Baker and stuff. So obviously it's acted well. But literally like the entire like anytime Higgs is on screen, it's literally he says a bunch of crazy stuff while Sam stands there. He like attacks you with a BT monster and then he just teleports away and that's it.
And he doesn't even pay off.
Yeah, like literally like he just like that's it. Like even like when you first get to like the far west, like the western section of the map, he's there and he's like attacking Sam with his mask for some reason. I don't really get that. His whole thing is like everyone wears masks. And at the end of the day, I was just like, dude, like what is your point? What do you like? It just like absolutely went nowhere.
Yeah, it made no sense. They kind of just like it ended in nothing. They swept him under the rug and pulled out Amelie real quick.
Yeah, very much so. Um, oh, and then just two more things, small things. One, this game has the worst credits of any game I've ever played.
Long.
Just like the first credit scene where you're on the beach, you're on Sam's beach, and literally it's like he kind of like wakes up and then like credits will play as he's just running on the beach. Then you get to the ocean and then you can like just run right and left forever or run out into the ocean and eventually fades to white and then you're right back to waking up again and more names appear and you got to do it again and you do this like 20 times before it's finally over.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
Can you not do that?
I mean, I just close the app,
Oh, yeah,
it's done
no.
at that point.
Well, no, this is before you do all the BB stuff. Yeah, it's like when
Then no,
Amelie.
I definitely went through it.
Yeah, it's like when Sam is like trapped on his beach before his friends rescue him. Like it's just looped and looped. I think you learn about Amelie during that section, like her being Bridget and stuff, like because it's like when you wake up, she'll be like next to you, even though she's already kind of disappeared. She'll be explaining her history a bit, and then eventually, like she stops showing up, and you're just waking up and running for just it. Like I sat through this. It was like midnight, and I had what I thought was beating the game, and I was doing this for like an hour and a half, and it was just awful.
Yeah.
And then my last thing, Norman Reedus, Sam, is the main character. Of every character that is on screen, he probably talks the least.
Yeah, I was just
like
about to say he
like so
doesn't
much of the
talk that
game is
much.
like you deliver stuff and then like a hologram of someone, they come up and they talk a bunch and then that's it. Or like and then in all the cutscenes most of the time it's just him standing there while other people are just telling him stuff and telling him what to do. It's like it sucked because like one of the selling points to me of this game was I am a Norman Reedus fan because of The Walking Dead, and I was like excited to see like Norman Reedus as this guy in this game, and he just, like I said, like talks the least of every character in this game.
He's just like you said, he kind of plays it like Daryl.
Yeah. But even then, Daryl talks more than that. I honestly don't think he ever even says anything to Higgs.
He has to.
I don't know. Like, I'm just, like, I literally don't know. Anyway, yeah, just, I don't like that. I wish he talked more. Moving on. Replayability. I don't think I'll ever play this game again.
I agree with you. I mean, is any story game,
Mm-hmm.
you only replay it to get it to 100% it, and maybe in a really long time for, when it's been long enough that you don't remember much about it. I've had games like that where I thought I'd never replay it, and then I will replay them in a long time.
I guess our final review. Yeah, I like it. I don't know. I don't know if there's anyone who has ever seen this podcast and thought, I don't know if I want to play this game. I'll listen to what these guys have to say about it. If so, I feel bad for those people.
I thought that was what we were going for.
Oh no, I thought we were. I mean, considering how in depth we go with like the stories and stuff, I would hope people who listen to this have already played the game because then I feel like we take like all of it out.
That's fair enough.
I don't know. Maybe they just skip the story part. I guess that's possible. Yeah, I don't know. This is a game like this is the weirdest game to me to like. Whenever people say like, would I recommend it? Because I'm like, well, one of the earliest reviews I read of it when it first came out, I think it was. I don't remember who the reviewer was, but like it was like this game is just a glorified series of fetch quests, and I'm like, no, that's absolutely what it is. Like, yeah, that's the game. Is you're just delivering stuff, and I liked that. Like, I have never. I guess my unpopular gaming opinion of the episode. I have no problem with fetch quests. I've never really had an issue with fetch quests.
They
So it's
can
like,
be done well, but in general, they're just tedious most of the time.
yeah, I like I said, I don't usually have a problem with fetch quests, and like I went into this game knowing, oh, it's just a bunch of fetch quests, and I was fine with it, and I liked it.
I really enjoyed this game. I went in with zero expectations, and I was blown away by the depth of the story and the gameplay. Um, I thought combat, traversal, the acting was all done very well. Would I recommend it? I would if you're somebody who can play a slower paced game.
Yeah, it's definitely a slower paced game. It's one of the first games I'd ever heard people talk about when they're like, "Oh, just get through the first 10 hours and you'll be hooked." And I'm like, "Man,
Right,
that's
like
like put, put more than a 9 to 5 shift into it and you'll like it." Like that's to me that's a big ask to go that long and expect someone to like just be getting into a game, because I mean, most games you're almost done by that point.
that's fair. So that's Death Stranding.
Yeah.
Why don't we move on to the indie bit? The bit where we talk about indie games.
Yay.
Today we are talking about Outer Wilds. So I discovered Outer Wilds when it came out because it came out the same time as Outer Worlds. Jaden and I talked about this where we both had this confusion because we were seeing reviews for both games, but getting confused and thinking that they were the same game. Outer Wilds is a game about exploration, mostly in space, and it involves a player character in a solar system on an Earth-like planet, and you basically are going around to the other planets following a trail of clues to find out what's going on with the universe and with this ancient civilization. But the tweak to the game is that every certain amount of time, the sun goes supernova and explodes, and then everything in the solar system is destroyed, and you restart back on the Earth planet. Gameplay mostly has to deal with flying, whether it be in a ship or in a jetpack. You are flying around and control. It's pretty realistic, I think, the flight mechanics of this game, and the gravity is realistic too. All that is taken into account. Did I like it? Yes and no. I was getting into the story of it, but I got trapped on the second world. I like kept going back there because it's like also crumbling as time is going on, so it just makes it ridiculously difficult to search, and it has so much stuff, and I never even finished it. So I guess no. I talked myself out of it. I don't like this game.
Yeah, did I like this game? I have never had such a dissonance between how interested I am in the lore and story of a game and how much I did not care about playing it. Like the small amount of the story of like this ancient civilization, the background I got was so interesting to me. Like I was hooked on it. I wanted to learn more, but the actual game itself, I just was like, I was like, I'd rather watch someone else play this than play it myself. And really the biggest turnoff to me is the fact that, like you said, you are on a loop. It is a 22-minute loop of the universe dying and resetting back to where you to like the beginning where you start. I hate that because it makes everything so rushed feeling. Like it's like an exploration game where you like can't really explore because you're like, oh crap, I gotta do this. I only got 22 minutes. Like, oh, I woke up. I have 22 minutes to get to this planet and explore as much as I can. And then if you don't find enough to get you to the next planet, oh, I got 22 more minutes. Got to go back. Got to somehow land on that same spot, or like at least a different spot I have to land at and get to it. Yeah, I just that really took all the enjoyment out of it for me. If that was like at the very least like a longer loop, if it was an hour maybe, but to me it's too much because like also like you said, the game is realistic and it is hard. Like flying your spacecraft is hard. I did not get the hang of it in my time playing this game. It was like I went through maybe like 4 loops and I was like, I just don't want to do this anymore because like as interested as I am in this, I will absolutely look it up and find out as much of this lore as I can because it's so cool. I just like it's annoying having to restart every 22 minutes and you don't have time to really enjoy anything because you have to restart every 22 minutes.
Yeah, so all in all, not great. What is the next game?
The next game we'll be talking about is Dust: An Elysian Tale. I know what do you know about this game?
Um, I know that this game is a 2D side scroller and that it features anthropomorphic characters.
All right. Tell you exactly how I really discovered this game. I think it was a free game on PS4 years ago. Obviously, we downloaded it. It was like a PS Plus game. We downloaded it because we download all of them because we're always like, yeah, maybe someday before I die, I'll play this game. Then I was at a friend's house. We were looking through his achievement list, like it just his games, just because I noticed it because he plays on Xbox, and I just like I we were just scrolling through like his menu on his Xbox, and I was like, oh, achievements. Hold on, let's look at these. And I came across like that game, and I was like, oh, I've heard of that game before. Is that any good? He was like, yeah, I enjoyed it. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I was years later scrolling through games on our game library on my PS4, looking for like games to download. And I came across that and I was like, oh, hey, I remember I talked to him about that game. And then I downloaded it. And like 6 months later, I played it.
Wow, what an action-packed story.
Yeah, it's like I literally knew nothing about it going in. Just I saw it. I saw my friend had played it, and he said it was good, and that was what made me play the game.
That's fair. I'm excited to play
And
and talk about it.
yeah, I am very excited to talk about it. Anyway, don't forget, new episodes every other Monday. Rate and subscribe. Tell us if you like our show, or tell us if you don't, and tell us why. Tell your friends and enemies about the podcast, and you can follow our Twitter at Superb Gamer Bros. That is SUPERB Gamer Bros for updates on episodes. And yeah, we'll see you guys next game.
Bye.